Hello everyone, my name is Aneuo, and today we have a very special video today. We got to try out the Chaos Zero Nightmare limited playtest. First off, thank you Smallgate for allowing me in and giving me a chance to play this game so I can spread the news and so on and so forth. It was a very fun experience. I have a lot to talk about. In this video, we're going to go over many of the different aspects that you're going to run through in playing Chaos Zero Nightmare, and we'll go in order based on when you will experience it. For instance, when you hop straight into the game, you'll see the design of the characters, design of the world. So we'll just do it in that order and break down what we saw and how I feel about the game. I usually speak a lot faster in my videos. For this video, I'll be speaking a little bit on a slower pace. Fast enough so you can, keep up, but slow enough so I can at least get my thoughts out very clearly. But let's get on with the video. First and foremost, Chaos Zero Nightmare is developed by Super Creative. Super Creative is the same developers as E7, and just to be clear, this is not the same developers as Outer Plane. Outer Plane is under the publisher Smilegate, which after this September they're actually not. They're going to be under their own publisher afterwards. But the only other game that Super Creative has developed is E7. But although I do think they may adapt some ideas, like for instance Kairon, one of the characters from E7, is in Chaos Zero Nightmare, I don't 100% think that a lot of the things will carry over, just for reference. But without further ado, let's get on going with the topics for the video. Like stated, when you get into Chaos Zero Nightmare, the very first thing that you're introduced to is of course the world and its characters. The world design, honestly, when I booted up the menu, it felt really damn good. It felt really polished from just hearing, just hearing the menu music while having the animation play the back. The animation looked really good, and then you load up into the game, and then you get to see your characters, and honestly, the design of the characters felt really damn good. It's really appealing to the eye in comparison to that other game named Theory Restart, and I honestly can't complain. Just like E7, the art team honestly was one of the hard carries for the game, and I can see it being the same for Chaos Zero Nightmare. The character designs are just very good and very solid across the board. There wasn't a single character I really disliked in terms of the design or something that called out to me, unless it was like some of like the Dre Stars or the partners. Everything else seemed like really good to me, especially the world design. The world design as a whole, it's following that darker tone and so on. We did get exposure to that in the story, but we'll speak a little bit more about that in the story aspect of the section. But yeah, as a whole, just going through all the menus and all of that, the character design just felt really, really solid. So I really enjoyed looking around and seeing it. So I do give this a solid like 8 or 9 out of 10. So, of course, you are exposed to the story because you're, that's the thing that you're gonna see when you walk into the game. Unfortunately, I don't have a very good opinion of the story. I didn't want to read too much of it since I'm gonna have to play the game on launch anyways, so I'd rather probably read it then. But from what I did experience, I don't think it was anything that, well, to be 100% transparent, gacha game stories as a whole usually are a hit or miss. Usually miss. They're not usually the best things in the world. My favorite one so far has been from Goddess of Victory Nikke. I heard Arknights has been pretty good, and I heard Wuthering Waves has been pretty good. I also heard like Lethal Company is pretty good, but I haven't played those games and I don't really have the time to play them, so I can't really tell my experience for them since I haven't played them. But the only game I have played out of the bunch, which I do think has good story, is Nikke. And if I were to compare it to Nikke, I do think Nikke is probably slightly better, but I do think Chaos Zero Nightmare is definitely above average, and maybe if I read it a little bit more, I think I might enjoy it. I do think I should give it a chance. It definitely has some promise there as well from the cutscenes and the stuff that I experienced from the story. So I would definitely rate this above average, but I don't think I would give it a hard rating as of yet, because of course we are gated to chapter 3. I haven't gotten there, but we're gated, so honestly you can't get the full experience. Of course, it is the limited play test. They don't want you to get that far, but I wouldn't say it's anything that would really hook me from the start, because there's nothing that really went, ooh, darn, I want to learn more, right? It was just like I was trying to passively consume it so I can, you know, get a little bit more immersed into the world. So I can't really say much outside that. And this gives us a perfect transition into the voice acting. Guys, hear me out. Magna? Bro, I can listen to Magna all day. This Magna scream is the best thing I ever heard. Like, honestly, holy crap. Boom. Just play. Wait. What are you doing? Hey, yo, wait, stop, wait. Okay, let's get back onto the video. The voice acting has been honestly very, very good. I can't say I'm surprised. Voice acting is usually a really hard thing to mess up unless you just give really bad voice direction. The worst voice acting I have heard would have been the English voice acting for Wuthering Waves in this 1.0 batch. But like, I feel like it's really hard to miss voice acting unless you physically or just have really bad direction for your voice talent. So in this game, I feel like if I were to try to compare it, I think it's slightly above average. It's above average once again here. But like, you can really feel the emotions in some of the things that they talk about, and for that it kind of jumped at me, so I really enjoyed it. And as well as like through the gameplay, the breakdown like voice acting was very good, as you heard from the Magna when I played it. Generally, it's just across the board very good, so I enjoyed it. I think voice acting is probably going to be no problem for this game, but just something to talk about. I'm not going to say too much about this section. I'll just move on to the next one, but I always like to appreciate the voice acting because voice acting do bring the characters to life. Anyways, on to the bigger form of stuff here. So let's talk about the gameplay. So if you're not familiar with Chaos Zero Nightmare's gameplay, you start every single turn with 3 points unless you have some type of special card in your deck, like for instance Mika allows you to save some points during your next turn. You start off with 3 points and you're using these are action points, and you spend these in order to cast your cards, and your cards go from either 0 cost up until 2 cost at the most expensive, I think, and there's a rare scenario where I think it could go up to 3, but it's only if your enemy inflates that card value. So you use this to play through the gameplay, and it's rather straightforward. Unlike other card-based games, like for instance Reverse 1999 and maybe 7 Deadly Sins, there is no card combinations off of basically saying you have 3 cards in your deck, and if you get the same card you combine it and the effect gets stronger. That does not apply for Chaos Zero Nightmare. Instead, you have a total of 8 cards in your deck, and if you want to get more cards in your deck, you can play through the gear grinding mode, which I could talk about that a little bit later for like building characters. And you can remove cards from your deck, so it's a lot more easier to get the cards you want. But that is pretty much the ingredients of like your card deck. So you cycle through these cards every single turn. You can play, maybe you can have like maybe draw cards, because it's usually a random amount out of your deck, and like it picks randomly, and you can probably like draw more, and so there's a lot of different ways you can play the game. But my opinion of the gameplay, it felt super fun. It was very fluid. You could tell that they spent a lot of time with it, and definitely the animations of the characters are very, very well done. Even though people turned away this game because it had some chibi, I can assure you I played this game and the chibi just felt like a nice accessory on the side, because you have all these wonderful animations across the board that include the actual like full character body rather than just chibi. Like for instance, Reverse 99 is just straight chibi, right? Or like, I don't know, Arknights I think is like mostly straight chibi. I haven't played that as well, so I won't bring that up, but I think you can get what I mean if you've looked in the gacha game market. So the gameplay itself is very, very good. I enjoyed it a lot. So for that reason, I do give the gameplay section a solid like honestly 9. It's honestly very, very fun. The gameplay honestly reminds me of Uma Musume when you're playing the Chaos, I forgot what it was called, but I think it's Chaos Manifestation. That's kind of where you build your decks. That's like your build your deck mode. It felt like Uma Musume in a way, and I played Uma Musume extremely a lot. It was just a very addictive gameplay mode due to this roguelike aspect, and you're getting a lot out of this. I think Chaos Manifestation is probably where you're going to be spending most of your time, but you can use this mode to build all your different characters. I guess we can transition to building your characters. I was going to go over the gacha, but I guess I'll go over gacha last because talking about the gameplay is probably perfect to transition to building your characters, right? So this Chaos Manifestation mode is one of the game modes they give us access to, where you can go through it, and it's stage based, and you can travel up and down, choose the path that you want to go, maybe hit up the shop, go to the mystery stage, or hit a boss fight, so you can continue to play through, and it kind of functions somewhat like simulated universe in that way, I think. I'm not too sure. But as you progress further, your decks can get stronger, you're able to buy equipment out of the shops, so you can continue to build your character stronger. And as you reach the end of your run in this mode, you can save the record of your entire run, and basically it takes the final form of the character, and whatever cards you achieved, whatever cards you removed, whatever upgraded abilities you've gotten, whatever gear pieces you put on your characters is saved on this data set, and you can use this in other game modes. This honestly means that every time you play through this game mode, you can probably end up with a different deck, a different type of deck for a side character, or a different version of the character. For instance, with Magna, maybe I ended up with 2 cards in the deck by the end of the run that gives me my AoE counter. Or maybe for Rin, I can remove my shield card from the deck and maybe duplicate one of my attacking cards so I can attack more frequently without the chances of getting a shield card in my deck. Because on her base deck, she has a shield card, and for the base deck of Magna, she has 2 shield cards as well. What if I don't want to play shield cards? I don't know why you want to do that, but what if I don't want to play any shield cards on my Magna? What if I just want to use her as a DPS? So there's many different ways to build characters. It's honestly not a direct way to build characters, so you can't just say, I want to directly do this. You can't really directly do this. You have to play through your Chaos Manifestation in order to build a character. So that RNG factor does mean you can't directly do it, but I do think it adds longevity to the game, because every time you play through this mode, it's definitely very fun, and you might end up with some other different crazy deck ideas just because of it. So I honestly think it was very fun. Now the gacha, for the most part, and I'm pretty sure all of you guys know about it, it is 50-50 system, but the gacha rate itself is about 1%, which is higher than Noyo games. But the 50-50 system is here. Now there has been extreme complaints, so you can continue to do it here as well if you want. This video is probably getting seen by Smallgate anyways, but yeah, nobody really likes gacha system. I don't know how the polls are going to look like on launch. In terms of the playtest, of course they gave us a ton of polls so we can try out characters, so I can't really tell you if in honesty how much polls you would be getting on launch. But in terms of actual gems I have spent since I started the game, I haven't gone as far as other people because I honestly am very busy right now, but I got far enough to unlock a good deal of stuff so I can talk about it. So in terms of, I've only gotten up to like maybe halfway of chapter 2 in the story. I've played Chaos Manifestation multiple times, and I am roughly around level 14 or so. I have only gotten in gems directly about a 10 pull. That is it. In terms of like actual, like whatever you would call like the selling currency, I'm just going to call it tickets for right now, or tokens. I'll call it tokens because it kind of looks like the Abyss tokens from Epic 7. In terms of the tokens, I don't exactly know how much we have gotten. I will probably say maybe 10 or 15, maybe 20 at the most, I think was given from other gameplay modes. That was not the mailbox, but I think 20 is more than what they gave us. I don't remember exactly because I was just claiming it, but I can tell you that at least 70% of the pulls, maybe even 80% of it, was definitely free out of the mailbox. So I really don't know how much they're going to give us in terms of pull economy. It's really hard to rate, especially when there's no events, but at least in terms of the baseline, I do think it doesn't look too good. Now, in terms of the other banners that are present here, we have also a weapon banner, and I'm pretty sure I probably have to go through it again. I constantly kind of ignored it because I do think when you have a game like this with a 50-50, pulling for weapons kind of sucks. But I do think the rates are guaranteed pull on the weapons, or it may just follow the same rates or as the character banner, but I do think it's guaranteed, I think. Now, the last thing that we have here is the prism banner. The prism banner is how you get these cool little animations on your cards, as I shown earlier in like the design. For 4 stars, as you summon on these banners, if you pull one of the 4-star ones, you basically can activate it. So it's a lot easier to get these for 4 stars than 5 stars. Now, if you do hit the 5-star, then you can claim 1 for the 5-star. Now, if you do get these pulls over time, once again, I do think for 4 stars it's going to be a lot easier to get than the 5 stars, so that's pretty nice. And I do think, I'm not too sure if you get early ones, if you get the one that you were hoping for, like the pity one. But for 5 stars, 100% is going to take an extremely long time, because I think every 5-star has about like 4 special cards. So that means you need to pull that 5-star one that you like 4 times. As for 4 stars, of course, they're much easier to get, so I don't think the amount really matters, but of course the same amount will be 4. And since the 4 stars are a lot easier to get, it's a little bit less nerve-wracking, but if you're hoping to get some for your 5-star, you're going to have to work a lot harder. So in terms of my overall rating of Chaos Zero Nightmare, I really enjoy the game. I do think this game has a 100% really good baseline, and this game is pretty much set to come out in about a month or so, or it's pretty much ready to release in about a month. So hopefully all of our ideas from the reviews and feedback go to Smilegate, so we can have a really solid game. But lastly, I just want to speak a little bit about the problems of the game. This section won't be too long, because as a whole, in terms of what I would call very large problems and very small problems, CZN would fall more towards the smaller issues. Most of it can get fixed. For instance, there's a lot of localization issues literally on the very first like 3 hours of the beta, or like literally the first day, I'm not too sure. I got confirmation from the creator team, whoever's like managing all these creators, that they're already tackling localization. So honestly, I'm not too concerned about that. Tooltips is very important. It can hurt gameplay experience. That's the same thing, it may not, but it's, I think 9 times out of 10 if we want tooltips. Because when you're trying to play cards and you're unable to see what special effects do on the card due to there not being any form of explanation directly on the card, or if you hold down on the card it gives you more information, it makes it a lot harder to play. You could make the argument, yeah, maybe if you're playing the game for a long length of time, you can learn what everything does and just memorize it. For instance, this is kind of the case in the E7. Eventually, once you play against something enough times, you're going to remember what it does, or when you play a character a certain amount of times, you're going to remember what it does. But I do think they should just have it, period, because literally on certain characters like Veronica, the only way you can even see what reload does is if you play the card and then look at her buffs, which sucks. So that definitely needs to get fixed. And then like maybe I think the other thing was like the menus. Some thought it looked a little bit plain, and like maybe the fonts could change, make it a little bit more unique to make CZN stand out a little bit more. I think it was mostly like the fonting and stuff, and like some of like just the design choices. I don't totally hate it, but maybe it could do some work. And I think the last thing was the gacha. We already spoke about that, so I won't really reiterate the whole entire argument, but maybe like better economy could help. But for the most part, the game felt pretty well done. There was no glaring big game breaking bugs that I really ran into, so that was pretty good. I would say 90% of the game is very good, and if there's anything more that we need to fix, of course we can fix it along the line. You can't really address everything in the playtest, but of course it gives us a large margin to work with. And if they were to tackle anything, it has to be the gacha system. It's definitely turning away a lot of people. So that's, if anything, that has to be the first thing that they address. But other than that, I think this game is very good. I will definitely be playing it. I will definitely be making content for it. But hopefully you really enjoyed this video and my thoughts on the game. Hopefully I made it pretty clear about all the gameplay aspects that you can jump into for Chaos Hour Nightmare. And although we don't have access to everything once again, so I couldn't really show anything more than that or anything endgame related, I do think that this game is going to be very fun in the long run. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.